So yesterday I started doing practice and training for an Angular application and looking for ways to incorporate it with two running servers. One is by using strapi, and the other is nestJs. So what I would like to do is today, in 2 hours, is to enhance the client side and just make sure that one of the servers is running with full capabilities. So I would need to skim a bit through nestJS. Let me think. The thing is, I'm not that sharp on nestJS yet. So I need to game up a bit. And I also found a treasure of snippets and cheat sheets, which I unfortunately can't share, but I will share my own documented process as I go along. And this is linked down below. And okay, let's continue from where we were, but working on those two servers, it's gonna be a blast. Okay, so the thing is, why do I need to develop nestJS? Is because let's first of all open this right now. This is the GitHub folder from where I've been 19 hours ago, and yeah, practice the missing bits. I think is the one. Okay. Um, so I fire it up, and let's save strapi. And I have a lot of terminals going on. I just need one. And cd dot dot. And we want to go inside Angular. And we're gonna npm start to fire up the chain of ngs dash dash hmr dash o. All right. So here is the app, and I have homework and items actually are not running from the server, and this is what I would like to change. Items come from a simple mock. You can see the items here. So if I change an item or I add an item, added 55, and you can see that immediately it's been injected into the application because it's exported, and in the page we have items, and on items HTML it takes the list from the TypeScript, and it takes the items from there, and that's very cute and all, but I would like to be able to take it from a server. So before creating a service that listens to the node, I would like to let's close some stuff here, and it's gonna start with we have one for agenda, which is general, just for stuff that I would like to practice on, and we have the Angular Bible, but now I need another file, and I will call it nestJS Bible markdown or txt. So I've already begun the documentation of the nest, and I could find it on my repository. For instance, here 1 week ago. No. Check. Doesn't look like this is the right directory. Okay, I think this is the one because I'm doing a Udemy again agenda. Wait. This is the list of courses I took from Udemy, and I'm still taking them, but time is something I don't have that much of. Okay, so what is transcript? Guide. Yep. Mhm. So this is Node.js. Yeah, this is a Node.js course. Okay, so this is. I think I had this question before. It could also be that I haven't uploaded it. What is this? Angular Bible. I see the nest guide here. So this is what I'm looking for. It's the missing file. So instead of nestJs Bible, uh, it's called nest guide. Let's check this. Okay, so in order to create, let's call it nest so I would know nest. I'm not sure if you let me server. We will try. So fire up a new terminal and nest new server. It doesn't allow because probably the name. Oh, you can't find the let's just write nest news. Okay, can't find the CLI. I messed around a bit with my setup here, so this is probably why I can't find nest. Let's go to the nestJs, and I will need to install it. Installation, so we need to install it globally. I'm using it. Um, okay, it's still working. So once I create it, there is a nice Udemy course which shows the controller working. So cd nest. No. What did I call it? ls. Sorry, what was the name of the server? I didn't. Now I need to nest new nest. Let's try nest server in one word. Nest server. Okay, so I would like npm. Why not? Okay, so it's quite finished. It's quite fast. And what I would like to have help with is actually I could try connecting it to the same database. This is kind of a marvel because having two servers running on the same database is something which sounds good, right? Okay, so now GraphQL. Let's go to the Udemy and check out if it has MySQL integration. check it out. So master, I have two courses, and let's check out if it has any database integration. So I see it's more into PostgreSQL, TypeORM, which I'm not familiar with, which is a big reason I needed this course. So it appears that I can also check out the other course, but maybe just a plain DigitalOcean tutorial, or I don't know. Let's check out the other one. Database basics. Okay, Docker, ORM, and I can see we have sort of MySQL database. So they have an issue about it. Doesn't sound very promising. But let me see.
In this video, you'll learn how to connect to the database.
Okay, so let's check. Well, we have a Docker Compose file. And what I'm looking for is some sort of maybe it's okay. So the Docker Compose connect have this sort of MySQL image. Does it mean that the application is immediately connected? I'm not sure.
From within your nestJs application. Install, save, add, use the TypeORM module.
Okay, so using
The forRoot method is a common name of a static module method. MySQL is typically 3306. The username,
right,
which is a localhost address.
So we're looking at app module TS. This is okay, and we can see here the module decorator goes on MySQL, and I can actually connect. So we'll grab all this and get back to our nestJs app. So what I have here, cd server. I can again npm start, but I think I need to check out the package.json. They have this sort of okay, start dev, because for each change you want to fire up the whole server. So this is a bit like Nodemon. So instead of npm start, I run npm run start dev, and then it fires up the watch sequence. The watch is part of the webpack and all. So now the server is running, and if I want to find it, I need to localhost something. It doesn't say. I think it's 3000. Let's check if we get. We need another browser because this is fully loaded. Okay, this is not too bad. So if I go to localhost 3000, should get hello world, which means, and we can see also in the terminal, we should see in the terminal a get request, but maybe it's a sort of static, I'm not sure. Anyhow, we have a app module, and so we have a double import now. We need to, and TypeORM module, I need to import it, and I don't have it. I need to install it. Let's kill the server and npm I. Let's check out the Avendude tutorial. Usually I don't use video tutorials while streaming, but a video. Okay, so what we can see here is npm I -- save at nestJs / type orm type orm mysql. So this is the command. First of all, let's start some documenting. So let's close a bit, collapse some folders, and type orm /mysql. And I just chunk both parts here, also the part from the engine, from the app module TS. I like working like with this transcript, so that one day when I need to rebuild, or I have a clear path, clear working path. This is really important, and also it's good to document everything you can. But also I need to fix it up a bit, because back to the real app, we need to import, and now it finds, and we can see that the database is called strapi1, so it has to be the same, and password is empty because this is my localhost. And it's really about security. How do you keep it in production? How do you connect it without exposing? This is a good question, but for now I'm only running locally, so it doesn't really matter. All right, so it looks like the application is running again. Let's take both windows out of this. I think I can minimize everything here. Cool. I'm trying to minimize some windows. Not letting like reducing RAM. I don't know if it's learning path, some just closing stuff down because it's spread too much. Okay, so yeah. So I'm adding both environments to one tab, and now, okay. Now, as you remember, it has some issue. So how do we know that it all worked well? Yes. So I'm okay. What is the issue? I'm not sure. Okay, let's say there is no issue. But how do I know stuff works? That is the question.
In this video, like UUID, column that has to be
Okay, so I'm getting ahead of myself because my server doesn't even emit anything right now. So let's work on that. So let's see. What we basically have here is an app service, an injectable app service. And what we need to create is something which is called DTO, just because it organizes things very nicely. So we have the whole repository for the items controller. So these are actually the commands we're going to inject into. We will have HTTP code and GET. We have body for the requests that we get from post or patch, and a delete command. So the whole CRUD ecosystem lives here very naturally in the controller when you can actually just. So also we need to create. So we will start just with Itemscontroller.ts. So let's create a new item controller. Okay, and on it, I would like just to write, let's have a get all, get, and on the get object, on the get decorator, on the get command, we will add a method to find all items. And let's add static items, right as we have here. But before that, I need to obviously declare the path and export the class. Okay, something else is missing, the controller itself. So I need to import the controller. All right, and import the get. Okay, so this is now gets. So that's all you need to do a controller. And if you come from a Node.js background, you should be shocked right now because Node.js needs so much boilerplate code going on. And this is really so simple. So like it feels like I'm not sure if nestJS is a framework or just a wrapped-in library over Node.js, but this is really neat. So I want to make sure that items controller is added into. Okay, so I need to import it and connect it because otherwise it won't affect. So okay. So now it doesn't find the. I need to save everything. And okay. Now the big question is, in our server, what happens when you hit items? Okay, so not items one. Okay, so it does find both items, and this time they are emitted from directly from the items controller. This is a great progress because we're not no more looking for a mockup items, but this is it starts to shape up. But now the connection with the database and actually make this real. So first off, let me check data validation. Okay, there's a lot going on. I think let's check out. So this is primary key and all. So a lot of I see some more regarding the database. Okay, there's something about synchronize. Okay, not sure about the entities event. What does it mean? I'm just gonna copy it, and if there's something, uh, so let's check out. Okay, let's check out this. Okay, this is the same, and there are more event controllers, like just controllers. So return these items, and I could just like private items and all. But this is before. Oh, this is after the connection. So I need to find the connection. Um, looking for it. Okay, so I would like to add. So this is the thing. I will need to declare the model. So let's look it up. Okay, so we have this sort of event entity, which is the basic building block. And also we can see the primary generated column from type OIM and the entity and column and all that. So I'm just gonna copy everything here and build it into my item entity.ts. And a good location for it, just on this src folder. So item entity.ts. And all right. So we export it as an item. Now we need to check in the database. Where is my database? Okay, here we are. I'm looking for the items where I have a test ready. So what is going on? I have ID, which is a number, which is great, no problem. But just check if it is indeed a number. Indexes. So ID is an integer. It's a very important check. So cool. What else do we have? We have here name, and it's a string. The same goes here. But I don't have a description. I do have an age, and it's a number. Do I have a date? I have a created at I want to keep. And do I need everything? Not sure I need everything. But it's a good question. Do I need all the inner data? Let's say that I don't, and if I would need it, I would correct it. But I would like to keep this one just for the record. It looks okay. I need to now import and connect the event entity to my app module, and also connect it like this. So let's try. Also, I need to document some stuff because I'm working here in the unknown. So database is strapi. Now, instead of events, I'm going to use item and as an entity. Looks cool. Okay. This looks good. And let's Let's add both line here to the guide. Wait. Okay. So let's mark it down. Add also, I would like to cut all this, and it should be after. Okay. So, what else is missing? Is the actual.
This needs to contain every entity class you are. Make sure we add called as it automatic running the editor and change apply an options and name. Let it be when you can see that though it did not delete the old table, it created a new one. So now let's delete this new table.
Okay, so it should save now that stuff is.
And yes, it.
Okay, it's interesting.
So
to
also
know
let's apply an options.
Affect the database now from the code, but.
So we have laid the groundwork for working with entities. I invite you to play around and go check the type-orm documentation.
Let's see. What
This video is
missing
about
for
the
connection?
Repository, on the other hand, is a class that manages the whole Shepherd ORM. This class, alternatively, more complicated common for methods of a repository. Questions about the repository, just stick with me. In this one, we'll have some practice. This controller class needs. Nest takes care of the rest. This really is a little bit like magic. With repositories, like you also need a decorator on this argument. You want a repository injected. The argument to the decorator is the entity class.
It sounds so much like a lot of boilerplate, but we'll try. So let me check now the changes or first of all, this is new after the database. You can see here. So, so there's an added line here, but I need to connect it to the right. For feature. Okay. So this is a kind of another connection word, and I would just like take this whole module and return it to my guide because it's getting out of hand. I just need the snippet that does it all in the end. So obviously it looks better. What else? There were some massive changes on the event entity because the item entity, no. Sorry, events controller had, okay. So we have inject repository, the repository, and the item. Let's see if all of this exists on my DTO, on my controller. We'll start with where is the inject repository? So we inject the repository, but where? So this repository and all instances of connection to the repository. So repository is a class, but using it, okay, here. Here is the dependency injection to the actual class from outside from the database, and this is really important. So injector repository. Let's start with dependency injector of the injector repository into the item controller. That's a lot. So export class event controller in the constructor. So we need to build a constructor, function constructor, and it should wrap everything inside the app. Okay, but now I need to declare, right? Yeah, I need, sorry. This doesn't affect the controllers. Okay, but I need to inject repository. And sorry, this is a decorator for the private read-only repository event. Wow. So wait up. So we have a decorator above, and inject repository. You can see it here, and it says decorators are not valid here. And right now I need to import the item. Okay, and private read-only repo. Everything here is inside the constructor, so not outside, inside, right? Yes. And private read-only is repo repository. Okay, so wait up. It's an item as item. And something here is missing. Oh, okay. Seriously complicated in the regard that okay, so we have a lot going on. And also I need to close it. Okay. Another curly bracket. So by the controller, okay. Constructor implementation is missing. Export class and a controller. Constructor. Let's just. I think I missed something, so let's change. Yeah, I made a mess here. Copy pasting is the right option. I don't know what went wrong. We can take a look. Just copy this and get back to what I had. It looks kind of similar. Export class,
constructor. I think this is the fault. Curly bracket here inside the constructor instead of so this is the fault, and also here is another one. This was the thing that destroyed my plan, my copied plan. So this is a lot of boilerplate stuff going on. First of all, the inject repository and injects an item inside the function constructor, and then we have inside the class a private read-only repository of an item. So now we should get rewarded with the final async find all. So instead of returning this mocked static data, async find all, not this find all, async find all, wait. Okay, and async find all return this repository. Cool, but we have a method, a find method on the repository which returns everything. And what we're looking for is the item. And the item is the actual column in the database. So let's save all. It's a lot. And let's see what happens now. So it did find an empty array, heap array. So what do we have in items? We have one item. So it should have brought us something, not an empty array. So what did I miss? The other check main TS, same. No, this is the testing controller. It's not connected to module. Might need to, how do I know if the database connection is working or not working? Because how do I make sure? Maybe I'll just restart the whole thing. It's a question.
For the repository, one entity, you can actually the update action refactor with this decorate magic.
Before the update, just make sure something works here.
Now all you need to know if you receive them using a mechanism called Dependency Injection.
How do we know the connection is
This video is a shepherd like more than once in almost any query using just for now,
nice.
But I will start using things look like a very simple thing in the end.
Connecting to the database. How do we know that the database has been connected?
In this video, you'll JS module, type module method you call, and we need to specify that. Of course, whatever you've specified, localhost IP, that's why we can use a little bit later. Okay, let's switch back to the terminal and...
כן, אני פה עושה בסטרים כזה לעצמי. שנייה.